Welcome back, y'all, and I'm sure you've all seen episode 6 of Paradise Season 2 titled Jane by now. And if you haven't, hit pause and come back once you watch it. But we're going to dive right into it because everything in this show is starting to pick up, and episode 6 finally delivered, in my opinion, all the clues that we've sort of been looking for. And it kind of broke the season open and kind of broke the show open to a degree, too, because now we have some answers and more questions, but we actually have some answers too to some of our questions, but like where's Teri and stuff like that. But also we have more mystery and clues and little nuggets laid out as well that kind of caused some confusion, but I actually think I got this figured out. So like I said, the pacing in Atlanta especially has picked up dramatically. We are barreling through towards the end of the season with 2 episodes left, and I don't think we're going to slow down anytime soon because I think for the rest of the season and probably going into the next, it is going to be fast paced and a lot of things are going to be happening. But today we're going to be dissecting Jane's completely unhinged backstory, that creepy stuff at the hospital when she was born, and Xavier, who proved me wrong, finally realizing that he's walking into a trap. So although we went back in time yet again, we didn't just get a simple flashback episode this time with Jane. While some of the episode, or most of the episode, was centered around her, the way it played out gave us massive progression on every other plot point in the show so far. The Atlanta storyline seems like it's finally coming to a close. The kids and some of the adults in the bunker are staging what seems to be a real rebellion. And the show is starting to lean heavily into its sci-fi element. So I think we're done with the whole political thriller of it. And for me, I was asking myself during this episode when they showed Link's group and they were talking, and they mentioned, if you paid attention, that the train was delayed. And we all know that the train is delayed in Atlanta right now. So it makes me wonder how close to the same timeline is everything happening, is in the present timeline. Is everything happening concurrently at the same time, or is there gaps in days or weeks? So that part's not really clear, but it kind of seems to all be kind of playing out in the same time. But I'm sure we'll get more clarity on that as we get towards the end of the season. So let's start with the craziest reveal, which was when Jane was a baby. And we have the Geek Squad guy, Don, who keeps getting all these mysterious messages from Alex Q. And we all know that Project Alex is something. And now this kind of lays the groundwork to maybe think Alex is a person. But we all know in today's world of AI that Alex could really be a machine or some type of programming that is programmed to send messages, I guess in this case, to the past so that it can affect things in the future. Because for Don, after he confirms that the baby is born sometime in June at 12:01 a.m., he was supposed to leave a message, but he didn't really leave a message. He basically said that Jane was going to be a killer. And while he is correct that Jane is definitely going to be a killer, what the hell was this message that he was supposed to deliver? Because I doubt that was it. So he didn't even do his part of the job correctly, which is probably how we get Jane being the killer in the future, because they failed to take her out as a baby, I guess. I don't know. But the real question is, how the hell does a random tech worker get a message and know this type of information right then? It's interesting that this clearly sets up some type of time paradox that we've been talking about. I'm starting to think that we're leaning somewhat into the butterfly effect type of time stuff, where you go back in time to a degree, or you manipulate time and then it changes things in the future. It has basically a ripple effect, which is why it's called a butterfly effect. So in this case, Alex Q sent Don a message that I'm assuming was to take out Jane, and the ripple effect of that would be maybe the president would be alive, maybe some other people would be alive. I don't know, but that's just me speculating, but that's kind of how it seems. So that's just me laying my theory out right there. But like I said, Alex Q was right about Jane. Jane is crazy as shit. The show goes as far as to lay out to us how crazy she is and what type of killer she's going to become. She locks her mom in a sauna. She locks her back up in there too, but, you know, just the type of crazy. She's proclaimed to hear voices. And I have some theories about those voices as well. We'll get into that in a minute. But Jane is a loony bin. And I'm sorry to say it that way, but this is how they made her. And we also learned that she had a mentor, CI agent Stacy, and she met her while she was at the farm. And the biggest thing we learned from this is that Stacy teaches Jane how to calm the voices in her head through meditation. Although Jane showing her appreciation to Stacy for being a mother figure to her, because Jane clearly has mommy issues and she latches onto this woman. She latches onto Sinatra, and but to show her gratification for everything that Stacy's done for her, when Stacy gets passed over for a promotion, she goes over to the guy's house and cuts off a piece of his anatomy and brings it back in the gift bag for dinner for Stacy. And I'm not sure what type of gift this was, and I'm not sure what Stacy's long-term reaction was, but Jane obviously ended up getting a job with the Secret Service, so I don't think Stacy was too upset with it. And it makes me ask, where is Stacy? And not that she's very central to this story, but where is Stacy? I wonder if Stacy's in the bunker too, somewhere in the background. But aside from that, we see more of Jane's mother issues play out, as even when Sinatra gifts her an upgrade to her Nintendo Wii, the Switch, she just so giddy and like a teenager, just like she just had Christmas all over again. And even when Gabriella approaches her about, oh, I know what you did and all this stuff like that, she basically lets her know that if you want Sinatra, you're going to have to come through me. But real quick, let's talk about child Jane's imaginary friend, Climby. So we know Xavier and Link have these psychic visual connections in some type of way. So one of my theories is, what if it's Xavier or Link is the one of the voices in Jane's head that she's hearing as a child? I'm not sure why it would be them, but they all seem to have some type of connection to Alex, I'm assuming. What if the voices that she's hearing is Alex guiding her towards whatever their ultimate goal is? Tell me what you think about that theory down in the comments. That's just one of my theories. I have many. I'm not going to share them all here because some of them are kind of crazy, and we don't really know where this show is going, so we'll just see. But meanwhile, in the bunker, we have the president's kid. I can't remember his name right now. And we have Nicole, and we have the scientist guy. Basically, well, the president's kid and the science guy are concocting a plan to blow the doors open. And obviously, he tells them that that's not possible. You can't just blow the doors open. But the doors do open if you cut off the oxygen supply to the bunker. And based off some of the footage that we've seen Nicole with some type of heavy, long pipe, whatever, going and knocking things around, and it looks like a machinery room. So I'm quite sure that's probably her cutting off the oxygen, since she does help them and doesn't want them to get caught, and even knocks out a couple of guards to make sure they get through this situation safe. Nonetheless, those doors are going to open one way or another, and I don't think Sinatra sees everything coming, even though she thinks she's Kevlar. And on top of that, she's obviously missing something with her daughter, or because her daughter is starting to peep what's going on, because Xavier's daughter, Presley, walks up to her daughter at the diner, I guess, and basically bluntly asks her, like, hey, you know what the fuck is up with your mom? And basically, your mom's not who you think she is. So she takes this information and goes back and, hey, are you Sinatra, mom? And not that she's going to lie to her. She thought about it, but she told her that she was, and I guess that confirmed something for her. So I wouldn't be surprised that we're going to see Sinatra's daughter team up with the other kids and whatever they have going on, and she's probably going to be like the inside man to figure out something. I'm not sure what plot point these kids are going to have outside of getting the doors open, because I don't think they're going to be able to do some of the heavy lifting that is set up for like Link and Xavier and stuff like that. And speaking of Link, he does show up at one point in this episode outside when Sinatra allows Jane to go out there and negotiate terms of her meeting Link. I'm wondering what their connection is, because like I've said before, Sinatra was connected to the quantum physics guy. She thinks she was going to buy his company or something other like that. He basically ended up signing it over before he got killed. That was Link's mentor, and he looked at Link like a son. So there's a connection there between the three. I wonder if Sinatra knows who Link is. I think she does. She definitely has probably an idea of a person that maybe the guy was connected to. I think his name was Henry, but I wouldn't be surprised if Sinatra knows who Link is. But nonetheless, they're going to allow 5 unarmed men inside the bunker and come to this meeting, whatever type of meeting it is. And I'm wondering what's going to come from that, because as we get towards the end, we know from some of Link's flashbacks that he's going to be somewhere inside, and he's going to be turning around, and he's going to be looking at Xavier, and they're going to be walking down some type of hallway of sorts. And we know Xavier I've already said this, and this is not a spoiler. It is obvious that Xavier and Teri are going to come back to Colorado on this train. So at some point when Xavier and Link are in the same place, they're going to be going down this hallway leading to whatever it leads to. I personally think it leads to Alex. What else would it lead to? But I personally think it leads to Alex. I'm not sure what else it could lead to because it wouldn't make sense with the amount of time that we have left. So that's just my theory, and you tell me if you think I'm wrong. So let's talk about that climax in Atlanta because, like I said, I think we're closing up there. You know, Xavier and Gary are at the train and they're talking about their little bomb plan or what they're going to do. And Xavier really disappointed me in this moment because I really thought that he was picking up on Gary's clues earlier. And clearly he was picking up on some of what Gary was putting down, but it didn't come or click in his mind until the very last minute, right before he gets on the radio and tells Gary all this sweet stuff about, hey, Gary, take care of my family if something happens to me. But all the while he's looking at this picture and he sees Gary while everybody's looking at the camera. And I know a lot of people pointed this out. He's staring up at Teri and it's just like, it's so fucking creepy. But ding, 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 he finally picks up on it. And Gary lets him know, I've always been trying to take care of your family. And right there, boom, and right there, boom, bomb goes off, Xavier gets blasted, but he's not dead or anything like that. But they don't really show what happens to Gary, but the episode is basically over at this point. We see Teri running through the crowd, getting to Xavier, whatever the case may be, as everybody's running up to him with their guns drawn. So, and like I said in my last episode, I believe that Bing, after he saw Gary kill Ennis, went and warned Teri, and I think they went to the train from there. I don't think they ever got captured. I think the train people probably know Gary is a fucked up person, and Bean and Teri probably told them what happened. Gary's probably not wanted there, so this is probably some personal vendetta. You know what? If I can't have them, nobody can. So I'm going to blow up the train people, and thank goodness Xavier came in town because I'm going to have him do it, and then I'm going to get Teri back that way. I'm pretty sure that's what Gary was thinking because that's kind of how this looks. They didn't show Gary's gone or he's there at the train looking or whatever, but he's not in the middle of the violence in any type of way. So Teri's still alive and she's at the train and she doesn't look like a prisoner of any kind. So this just tells me that if Gary isn't with them, maybe he would be if they didn't find out about Ennis, but I don't think Gary's wanted there. And I'll just keep that there. So where are we going? Where are we going from here? We know Sinatra agrees to meet Link. And like I said, I think she has a really good idea of who he is because of the whole quantum tech guy. And if she does know about him, she probably knows that he's coming for revenge because let's remember, time has been introduced in this show. So we really don't know who knows what at any time because Link could be a time traveler. Sinatra could be a time traveler of sorts. Maybe Sinatra is the one who sets everything up so she knows retroactively what pieces she laid out in the puzzle because clearly somebody sent a message back to when Jane was born. So we don't know yet how many messages were sent back through what medium and to who. And what if Link is a time traveler? Because I don't think we know his real name. What if Link is Alex Q? Because he just said he wanted to kill Alex. This has Alex Q. So who is Alex Q now? And are Alex and Alex Q the same person or thing? Let me know down in the comments. But the most likely thing that's going to happen is between Link's army outside, you have Nicole and the kid and the scientist about to cut off the oxygen, and those doors are going to open. I'm thinking that we're probably going to get some violent climax in episode 8, probably some mini war, but they're probably not going to do too much damage because we don't want to destroy the bunker, I don't think. We just want to destroy or kill Alex, whatever that is. So I think we're getting to a point, especially getting into our final season, where everything is finally going to merge onto each other, and we're probably going to follow one storyline going from there. And I really do think that we're getting to this point where we're about to get some solid answers on some things, obviously some hit cliffhangers and mysteries going into the final season. But episode 6 for me kind of opened up the floodgates for everything that is possible and everything that is going to be coming. This was a great episode. They gave us an incredible backstory on Jane and showed us what led her to become the person that she is because she's very, very smart and calculated, but she's also very, very vicious. And from there, they move the plot line of every storyline that's going on forward. And it seems like we're coming to this converging point where something big is getting ready to happen. There's going to be some big reveal at the end of the season. And whether that big reveal answers a question or leaves more mystery, that remains to be seen. But there is going to be a big reveal at the end of the season. That's obvious. But what did you guys think of the crazy flashback scenes and everything at the hospital and the episode Jane? Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I will see you next time for episode 7 coming Sunday. And thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you again. Bye.